We were just supposed to be passing through, like all the travelers who stopped for a few days at Lake Atitlán to visit the lakeside villages and hike the volcanoes. In the end, we stayed there for 77 days. Stuck. My name is Leah. My partner Quentin and I are slowly making our way across the Americas on motorcycles, heading all the way to Patagonia, Argentina. But in the last few episodes, everything started to go haywire. We faced one setback after another. And when we finally arrived in San Pedro La Laguna, we were exhausted, and so were the motorcycles. Hi there! I'm on my way to the beach. We're gonna update you after the quite chaotic days we had in the last videos. And I'm gonna also explain why Quentin is not here, not even in Guatemala anymore. So yeah. Let's go. Oh, the kitten. Where are you, kitten? I think that's a good spot for the update. The sun is back just now. So yeah, as you've seen in the last two videos, we had quite a few chaotic days before arriving here in Lago Atitlán in Guatemala. We had some mechanical issues in Quentin's bike, the battery wouldn't charge anymore. I was sick, and then I had a little accident that resulted into my swing arm being bent, which is not very practical when there's so many mountain roads with big turns here. So yeah, we arrived in San Pedro La Laguna, a little bit exhausted to be honest, and first thing first, I took care of myself, took some medication, took time to rest, then I ate a lot of fermented stuff just to renew my bacteria system, and after a few days I felt way better. And then we had to take care of the bike. We did find a new regulator from the Royal Enfield dealer in Guatemala City. Found out that they sent us the wrong one. It didn't fit the Himalayan. I think there's two options for the electric system depending on if it's American based or European based, something like that. Anyway, we had to order some parts from the States because they didn't have any swing arm. The Royal Enfield in Guatemala City could order it, but it would have taken more than 3 months. Our visa is 3 months for Guatemala, but also Honduras, El Salvador, and Nicaragua, so it was just impossible. We called and emailed all the Royal Enfield in the States to see who would have all the parts in stock. We found one in Brooklyn who had all the parts in stock, so we could order the parts from them, send them to a company in Miami who would deal with the importation because importing stuff in Guatemala is so complicated. I had the experience. It took me 2 months last time to receive my Lone Rider bike. This time we would pay more, but pass through a company specialized in that just to go way faster. We thought, okay, it would take a few weeks and then we can go back on the road. It took a little bit longer. Somehow it took almost a month for them to receive them from the warehouse. It took forever and the communication wasn't exactly the greatest. We kept extending our stay like week after week without understanding because they told us at first 2 weeks, but no. Then he arrived after like more 3 weeks, 1 month to the shop in Brooklyn. Then they sent it to Miami, who sent it to Guatemala. So everything took a bit more than a month. It was very, very expensive. We also ordered a new headlight for Quentin's bike, who doesn't have any light for months now. We paid for it. We paid for the shipping of it. We paid taxes on it. But they forgot to put it in the package. Anyway, so the question now is how am I still here, me and not Quentin? What happened? Well, what happened is that when the bikes were being fixed, Quentin lost his wallet. It was a stupid accident. He was coming back from a shop on a bicycle and just fell from his pocket in the street. And it was impossible to find it back. We asked everyone in that street. We let some posters. We posted on Facebook groups. Yeah, impossible. For those who are following this channel for a little bit, you know that this is not Quentin's first time doing something like that. He also lost his passport in Mexico, but found it thanks to Facebook groups. He lost his credit card just before crossing the border from Belize to Mexico, where the credit card is mandatory. And now the problem was the driver's license. The passport wasn't in the wallet, but the driver's license was, and that is problematic because traveling and crossing border with a motorcycle without driver's license, I don't want to try it. I really don't want to try it. He passed his driver's license in Canada 3 days before the beginning of the trip. So even though he's Belgian, he had to go back to Canada, and that's where he is right now. He's in Vancouver. I had to renew my French driver's license a few months ago. I could do it in like 3 clicks online. That wasn't a problem. It's impossible with the Canadian one. So no choice. Quentin is spending a full week in Vancouver just for an appointment that literally lasted 5 minutes. And now we're gonna have to wait until they recreate the card that can take, they say, up to 3 months. But usually it takes more than 2 weeks, so I'm taking the optimistic version here. And hopefully in a few weeks, we're gonna receive the new driver's license in our former address in Canada, and our former roommate in Canada would be able to send it to Guatemala, and then we'll be able to travel again. We weren't supposed to spend that much time here, to be honest, but at the end, it's almost 2 months that we are in San Pedro right now. I mean, there's worse places to wait for sure. It's beautiful, it's very cool, but really that wasn't the plan. I really miss the road right now. I really miss traveling. I feel a bit stuck. I really don't want to complain because this is such a nice place to be stuck, but yeah, still stuck. So yeah, that is the update. We'll probably here for a few more weeks because it is cheaper and easier to stay here in Lake Atitlán than to wait in Antigua, for example, which is way more expensive. And I'll show you a little bit what we've done in between. Few hikes, we visited some villages around the lake, and mostly worked a lot because, it was quite expensive a few months, so we tried to work as much as possible to not finish completely broke after all that. So yeah, that wasn't exactly the most exciting weeks here, but it was also nice to just feel like we were living here for a little bit, always going to the same shop, starting knowing some of the locals, having my favorite cafe. It was nice to have a little bit of a routine here. So yeah, that's about it for the update. So I'm gonna switch to voiceover and show you a bit what we've done around here because it is quite a cool place to be stuck in. I'll show you that. In the end, we ended up staying here 77 days. Yeah, there are worse places to be stuck. Little by little, San Pedro stopped being just a place to wait for parts and paperwork. It started to feel like a life. In the morning, we worked. In the afternoon, we tried to forget that we still didn't know when we'd be leaving. And in the evening, we spent time with the travelers passing through here. Those who had just arrived and those who were about to leave already. The conversations always started the same way. Where are you from? Where are you going? Where have you been? Some turned into these fleeting friendships, the lot of the traveler who is constantly saying goodbye. Quentin even met another Quentin who shared his passion, which statistically speaking must be about as rare as getting motorcycle parts quickly in Guatemala.
It's so random.
We felt right at home here, a little bit too much so sometimes. So, between classes, we take the bus that crossed the lake. San Juan was cute. Colorful walls, cafes everywhere, quiet streets where you end up walking without really looking where you're going. We're going to climb up there. Up there, at the lookout, a group was playing the marimba. For a few minutes, everything seemed incredibly simple. San Marcos, in the other hand, is something else entirely. A sort of hippie bubble perched on the water's edge, between breathwork classes, cacao ceremonies, and backpackers who've completely changed their lives since Tuesday. And we're in San Marcos, another village known to be the hippie village. And we are on the top of the hill in Eagle Nest to see the view. Super narrow. We spent some time at Eagle Nest. From here you have a perfect view on that mountain said to have inspired the drawing of the boa in The Little Prince. The same one I got tattooed on my arm to remind me not to take myself too seriously. And then there was San Pedro, the sound of the tuk-tuks, cafe filled with travelers offering an absurd view on the volcanoes, a somewhat strange routine set in. Not really a vacation, not really on the road either, just a forced break between two chapters. And during those 77 days, the lake became our daily life. Until that morning, we woke up at 3 a.m. to climb Indian Hills in the dark. After weeks of feeling stuck, watching the sunrise over the volcanoes almost felt like things were finally starting over. In a few days, we'll be on the move again. But that's for the next video. Thanks for watching this one so far. Cheers!